that's it. Everything else is fucking nonsense. We gotta start being more decisive out there. Guys, how in the world is it that I have two drivers running the exact same miles? I'll post up the statements behind me, but we got two drivers running 4,900 miles. One driver brings home $4,700, the other driver $2,300. Now, 47 minus 23, that's $2,400 difference per paycheck. Multiply that by 2, multiply that by 12. One driver is making $57,600 more every year. How is this possible? Well, I'll tell you how it's possible. There's a lot of guys there that are undecisive. Over the last 3 years, as I've been creating these videos and creating awareness out there, I've done a few videos in the past that go along the lines of the rich driver mindset versus a poor driver mindset, and how some drivers make $350,000 or $250,000 a year versus other drivers that make $100,000 a year. Now, in this particular case, okay, this driver, if he keeps going the way that he's going the whole year, $57,600 would be the difference. Now, one guy is a lease operator and the other guy is a company driver. One guy is banking $4,700 every 15 days, while the other guy is taking home $2,300. They're both driving the exact same miles. So what is the difference between the two? One is decisive and his mindset is correct, while the other one is taking the safe way, the cautious way. He's just getting his paychecks, paying into payroll taxes. If my son came to me and asked me, Dad, I'm in this situation, what do? I would tell my son, hey son, you know what? Number one is you need to be decisive on what you're gonna do, and if you're gonna do something, go into it 100%. Now, I can't tell you how many times I get phone calls from the exact same people. I put notes on everybody. I have over 14,000 drivers in my database. When somebody calls me, I usually put notes, or the recruiters put notes, and I have guys that are calling me year after year, and they are like, should I, shouldn't I? Should I, shouldn't I? My God, it's been 2 years. Make a decision. Either move on with your life or jump into a program. Now, it doesn't have to be my program. I'm just giving you the background information. Now, is the lease purchase program too good to be true? No, it's not. It comes with its own headaches. You are an owner operator. You will take care of that truck. You will have repairs and maintenance. You are going to be going home and thinking about your truck. And that's really the biggest difference between these two drivers. One driver goes home and has nothing to do with his job, and it's okay to take that safe route. While the other driver, even when he's home, he's thinking about the trucks, he's thinking about his repairs, he's thinking what next is gonna come with the truck. But at the end of the day, you can see the numbers for yourself. They both ran 4,900 miles. I wanna go into probably a little bit more detail on the lanes that they drove. They're both here in the greater Toronto area. They're both driving Midwest USA and Southeast USA. So you can see here, this one driver is from New Brunswick, goes to Alabama, from Alabama goes to Concord, from Concord he goes back to Perth, Ontario, from Perth, Ontario, that's pretty much where it ends. So 4,900 miles. Basically, he went from Concord, Ontario to Moncton, New Brunswick. From New Brunswick, went to Halifax, Nova Scotia. From Nova Scotia, he went back to Moncton. From Moncton, he went to Madison, Alabama. From Madison, Alabama to Birmingham, Alabama. From Birmingham, Alabama, back to Concord. And then from Concord to Cornwall. That's where the pay statement ends. So yes, he's a company driver, gets 58 cents per mile plus whatever other bonuses they get. He actually grossed out $3,163. He has no deductions, and he has the payroll tax, which is CPP UEI here in Canada. That's an $842 deduction, and netted in his pocket $2,327. Now, the other driver, the one that has a lease, paid $1,212 for his truck. He had $193 in disability insurance, $121 in buy-down insurance, $1,835 in fuel, $207 cash advance, and then he netted home $4,754. Now, you're probably gonna ask me, Ronen, how in the world does a driver run 4,995 miles and only pay $1,835? Well, that is probably the biggest secret of success. As a lot of you know, or I talk a lot about this, that fuel consumption is extremely important. One of the most important things when you're looking for a truck, when you're buying a truck, when you're leasing a truck, doesn't matter what it is, when you're taking ownership of a truck, or you're gonna be taking that step into being an owner operator, that truck, the most important thing that you need to look at, number one, is fuel consumption. Number two is whether or not it has a battery or a diesel APU unit. That's it. Everything else is fucking nonsense. Now, why do I say that? You can see here, the driver drove 4,995 miles and he only had $1,835 in fuel. Now, I want to open up my fuel consumption just so you guys see that I'm not full of shit. And when I tell you that my trucks are all fuel efficient, and that's the most important thing for me when I'm looking at it, I zero in on this. I zero in on idling time and I zero in on the fuel consumption. Now, why do I do that? Because that's where your money is sitting, even in the downfall economy. This is where the money's at. Okay, so here are my list of trucks over the last 15 days. Now, you can see here that my trucks are running at 9.1 miles per gallon, 9 miles per gallon, 9 miles per gallon, 8.7, 8.6, 8.6, 8.6, yada, yada, it goes all the way down to 8, and then it goes all the way down. If you look at the next batch of trucks, they go all the way down to about 7.8. Now, if a driver, for example, most important, you see on the right-hand side, idle time, 7.3%, 21%, 5.4%, 1.3%. Now, this is extremely important, okay? Because idling is direct correlation to fuel consumption. Now, if I'm running 50 or 4,900, how many miles does this owner operate? 4,995 miles. If I'm running at 8.5 miles per gallon, I need 588 gallons. Today in the Midwest region, you could probably find diesel at about $3 or $3.05 with our discounts, probably $3 per gallon. That's $1,767. And you can see here that the driver had $1,835. So very important is fuel consumption, because if you're dialed in on your fuel consumption, then you are making money even in this downfall economy. Now, for those of you that are interested, I actually go in detail about this in my course about cost of running a mile, whether you're a small fleet owner, owner operator, company driver. If you are ever thinking of becoming an owner operator, I teach this. Fuel consumption is extremely important. The way you buy your truck is extremely important. If you're going into a lease purchase program, it is extremely important that you look at multiple factors. Now, I teach all this in my cost of running per mile. Honestly, it's the best probably 30, 40 bucks that you can ever spend. It's a couple-hour course and it'll teach you to dial in on certain things that you need to be made aware of. But I know I'm gonna get blasted in the comments about, oh, one driver still has to pay taxes. The other driver is on payroll, is gonna get a refund. You're right about that, 100%. But you have to understand how creative people can get in their corporations. You need to understand that building wealth within your corporation, that's really the name of the game. Driver number one, with this $4,700, I mean, let's multiply that by 2. We're probably gonna get around $9,000, $9,500 per month. Not every month is gonna be like that, but $9,500 per month, you really don't need to take all that as a salary for yourself. You can pay yourself $2,000. You can pay yourself $3,000 a month, whatever it is that you need to live. The rest of it, you can accumulate and build wealth within your corporation. Now, when you do that, after a year, after 2 years, your corporation is going to have $100,000, $150,000. You can buy yourself a second truck. You can even go into stocks. You can go into real estate. Do whatever you want, but do it the right way, right? If you're going to buy yourself a truck, you might want to upgrade your truck. You want to get even a truck that's even more fuel efficient. But at the end of the day, this system, whether it's a lease operator, if you're an owner operator, this is going to allow you to build wealth within your corporation. Now, if you ask me which option I prefer, either to be on payroll or to be an owner operator, either under a lease purchase program or just being a traditional owner operator, of course, I prefer the owner operator route. I would like to build wealth within my corporation. Now, a lot of you guys are probably also thinking, but the economy is not good. There's problems in our industry. You're right, there are problems in our industry, and the economy is not the greatest. But there's still, I don't know, a billion trucks out there working and making money. What do you think? That you're just gonna be the one that doesn't make money? No, that's not going to happen. You are going to make money. Yes, as the economy goes up, you'll start making a little bit more money. But I promise you one thing, if you learn how to survive in today's economy, nothing is going to take you down. And the courses that I teach, the dispatch courses, the freight broker courses, or even zeroing in on the cost of running a mile, I mean, that's what's going to teach you to get ahead in this game. It's gonna teach you to be successful in today's economy. The only place that you have left to go is only up from here. So if these guys are making this kind of money, I mean, they'll only be making more and more as the economy becomes better. So I gave you my opinion, your opinion. Where do we go? Do we continue being that company driver, or do you start thinking about becoming an owner operator or leasing onto a really, really good company? Now, 2 things I'm going to tell you about if you are thinking of becoming a lease operator. I don't want anybody becoming a lease operator if, number one, you have a big down payment, probably about 30-35% of the truck value that you're going to be buying. And the second thing is if you have good credit, okay? So if you have these 2 things, you're not looking at a lease purchase program, you're gonna go to the dealership, buy yourself a truck, and don't be dependent on anybody. If you do not have a down payment, if you do not have good credit, and you want to expedite that process. You don't want to wait 2-3 years until your credit's going to clear up. Here in the GTA, these drivers are probably paying 30% of their salary into taxes, right? You could be doing the exact same thing and building wealth within your corporation. So I'd love to hear some of your opinion out there. I really want to see what you guys have to say. I gave you guys my data, my analytics, my stats on the fuel consumption. Remember guys, when you are going into this, you're getting yourself a fuel efficient truck that has an APU unit or either a diesel or battery, it doesn't matter which one, but make sure it has one to get the best bang for your buck. I'd love to hear some of your comments below. I'm Ronen, and I'll catch you in my next video.